Okay, so Unit 6.1, Day 7 review, factoring test review, find the GCF. Okay, just find the GCF of these four. So we have 36x squared plus 9y squared. Well, 9 goes into 36, and they don't have any letters in common, therefore that is your GCF. Number 2, this has a 2, this technically has a 1 and a 1, so really your GCF number would just be 1, which you don't have to take out. But they all have A, B, C, so I know I'm going to take out an A, B, and C. This one has 3 A's, 2 A's, and 2 A's, so I can take out 2 from all three terms. This has 2 B's, 2 B's, and 1 B, so I can only take out 1 B. This has 1 C, 1 C, and 2 C's, so I can only take out 1 C. So that is my GCF, A squared BC. Number 3, they both have a 6, so obviously we can take that out. And they both have at least one X, because this one only has 1, but this one has 3. Remember, when it's the same letter, you take out the smallest exponent. So 1 would be the smallest exponent, so that's all I took out. Here I have AM minus 2AN. The only thing they have in common is A. Okay? So let's look at number 5. So it says factor completely. I want you to realize this one's 3 terms. Okay, always make sure it's in order, which it is, and also make sure there is no GCF, which there is not. So I'm going to go straight into finding my A, B, C. So I get 3, -11, -20. Calculator. 3 times -20 is -60. -11 on bottom. And then remember, this is your AX, so 3X, 3X. Okay, what goes into 60 but adds to give you -11? Well, I know that this is negative, so I'm going to have a negative and a positive. And I'm just going to start 3 and 20 don't make 11. 5 and 12 don't make 11. 6 and 10 don't make 11. What else? I'm trying to think. 2 and 30 don't. 3 and 20 don't. 4 and 15. So it's going to be 4 and 15. It's going to be a -15 though with a +4. The way I knew that is because this is negative, so I need the bigger number to be negative. Now, remember, you always have to make sure these don't simplify as if they were fractions. 3x plus 4 does not simplify. But 3x over 15 does. 3 goes into both of those. So we're going to take that 3 out. And I end up getting x over -5, which just means x minus 5. Now this next one's only 2 terms, so I cannot do the snowflake. Well, there's no reason to do the snowflake. Okay, I do see that there's a GCF. This one has A squared, that one has C squared, but this has 3, and 3 goes into 27. So I'm going to take that out. I get A squared minus 9C squared, which now I realize I have a perfect square minus a perfect square, meaning I can do difference of squares. Remember, with difference of squares, one's plus, one's minus, but they're exactly the same other than that. So A times A is A squared, and 3C times 3C is 9C squared. Okay, number 6 is 4 terms, so we're going to do grouping. And technically this is a degree of 2, degree of 2, degree of 2, degree of 2, so it's really in order, but it's not in order to where it works for us. We need to rearrange to where 2 terms together have a like term. So this is MR and NS. Those don't have anything alike. But MR and MS does, NR and NS does. So I'm just going to move this term to the end, not the end. And I'm going to now do my grouping. Now these first 2 terms have M in common, which leaves me with R plus S when I take it out. These 2 have N, a positive N in common, and that leaves me with R plus S when I take it out. Remember, with grouping, you want your parentheses to match, and therefore that is part of your answer. and the remainders put together make the other part of your answer. So you can rearrange grouping to work. Okay, let's look at number 10. We have 3x squared plus 13x plus 4. It's 3 terms, so I'm going to do it like a snowflake. There is no GCF and it is in order. A times C on top, which gives me 12. B on bottom. Now I want you to realize everything's positive, so everything's going to be positive. And then I have AX, AX. So what multiplies to give me 12 but adds to give me 13? Y'all, anytime the bottom number is 1 more than the top number, it's just going to be 1 times itself. 1 times 12 is 12. 1 plus 12 is 13. This does not simplify, so that is one of my factors. 3 over 12 does because 3 goes into both of them. That leaves me with x over positive 4, which gives me x plus 4. Number 7 is technically grouping, but it's already been grouped and GCFs have already been taken out. Our parentheses match. So there's one of my answers, and then the remainder makes the other part. Those are the easy ones. We like those. Number 11 is 3 terms. There's no GCF and it is in order. So I find my A, B, and C. Do my snowflake. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. B is 5. A, I would say AX, but it's technically AA. Number A with letter A. So what multiplies to give me negative 24 but adds to give me positive 5? Well, I know that's going to be a negative and a positive. And it's actually going to be positive 8, negative 3. This does not simplify, so that's one of my factors. 2 goes into 2 and 8, so I'm going to simplify. And now there's my factor. Number 8 is a difference of 2 squares, perfect square minus a perfect square. X times x is x squared. 6 times 6 is 36. Remember, 1's plus, 1's minus. Now this one does have a GCF. It does not happen to be a number. It is strictly a letter. So they all have a y. So I'm going to take that y out. And when I do, I'm left with 7y squared plus 15y plus 2. Now I'm going to put that y at the bottom, and I'm going to forget about it, and I'm going to snowflake factor this. Seven times 2 is 14. B is 15. Okay, what multiplies to give me 14 but adds to give me 15? Remember, when the bottom is 1 more than the top, it's just 1 times itself. This does not simplify. This side, however, does. 7 goes into both of those, and we get y over 2. Flip to the back. So again, we're still just factoring mixed practice. So this is kind of the same concept as the front. Yes, these both have an R in common, but this has AR, AR, this has BS, or BR and BR. So we're just going to move this one just like that. And then do grouping. These have AR in common. When I take that AR out, I have one R left because that's squared. This leaves me with plus S. Here they have a BR in common, but a negative at front, so I take out a negative BR, and that leaves me with one R plus s because I took out that negative. They match. I'm going to go side to side even though I know the numbering is not that way. Okay, here we have three terms. There is no GCF. They are in order. A is 9, B is 4, C is negative 2. A times C is negative 18, B is 4, AX, AX. What multiplies to give me negative 18 but adds to give me positive 4? I know it's going to be a positive and a negative. And I can divide it by, not that, 18 divided by 2 is 9 and 2. 18 divided by, I can't think of it, so I'm going to check to make sure this is factorable. So remember, when we check to make sure it's factorable, we use b squared minus 4 times a times c. You don't even have to write it out. So 4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 9, times negative 2, which is c. And it gives me 88. If you're unsure, you can put it here. It is not factorable, so this is prime. So I want you to see the way I checked that is I just did the square root of it, and it did not work. Okay, so it is prime. 14, I only have 2 terms, which is exciting because then I know no snowflake. But they do have some, maybe they don't. They do not have anything in common, but they are both perfect squares. 9 times 9, and then what's half of 4? 2, so m squared, m squared. So 9m squared times 9m squared is 81m to the 4th. 11s squared times 11s squared is 121s to the 4th. So remember, this is difference of perfect squares. One is minus, one gets a plus. Again, difference of perfect squares. 25 and 49 do not have a common number. X squared, y squared, no letter in common, so we're going to break it up. 5x times 5x is 25x squared. 7y times 7y. So again, difference of squares. Now number 15 is one of the ones that y'all don't like. Either y'all skip it, or you struggle, or maybe you do it perfect, I don't know. But this one does have a GCF we recognize, hopefully. I know that 3 can go into all 3 of those numbers, okay? Now this has x squared, this has xy, and this is y squared. They do not all 3 have the same letter, so we cannot take that out. So when I take out that 3, I'm going to put it down here for part of my answer. And I get 6x squared minus 5xy minus 4y squared. Now, this is where this one gets a little tricky. When you find your a, b, and c, I'm going to use x squared as my normal letter because that's what we normally deal with. Anything that I didn't just circle, because this is ax squared plus bx plus c that has no x, is going to be part of my ABC. So 6, negative 5y, and negative 4y squared. So when I do the snowflake, I get 6 times negative 4y squared, which gives me negative 24y squared. Ax, and b is negative 5y. What multiplies to give me 24 but adds to give me negative 5? Well, it's negative, so I know it's going to be a negative and a positive. And it's actually 8 and 3. Y and y, because negative 8 times 3 is negative 24, negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5, y times y is y squared, y plus y is y. So these both simplify. 2 can go into both of these. That gives me 3x over negative 4y. 3 can go into both of these. That gives me 2x over positive y. So my factors are 3x minus 4y and 2x plus y. Number 20 has a GCF of 7. I'm going to take that 7 out. I'm going to put it at the bottom so I don't forget about it as part of my answer. And I actually end up getting x squared minus 1 because anything divided by itself is 1. Now that's a perfect square times a perfect square. X times x gives me x squared. 1 times 1 gives me 1. Number 16 is not in order, so I need to rearrange. I want you to realize this is a positive 32, so I get negative 72x squared plus 32. And I also realize that I have a GCF. First off, I have to take out a negative because I have a negative at front. So I'm going to bring that down. And then let's see what goes into 72 and 32. I believe 8 goes into both of them. Yep. Okay, so 8 goes into both of these, so I'm going to take out a negative 8. Negative 72 divided by negative 8 is positive 9x squared. 32 divided by negative 8 is negative 4. Now this is a perfect square minus a perfect square. 3x times 3x, 2 times 2. Now, say we took out the wrong GCF here. Say we only realized that they both had a 2. And I would take that out, and I would get 36x squared and 16. Now I want you to realize they're both still even, which means I have another GCF to take out. So realize if you take out the wrong greatest common factor and you just take out a common factor, you'll have another one. So always check it after you take out your GCF. 9 and 4 do not have a common factor, so I know I took out the right number. Okay, that's how you'll check that. Here, this is technically grouped for us. The letter's just at the back. If you move it to the front, it doesn't change anything because remember, order doesn't matter when multiplying. So I get A minus B, and the leftovers are C plus D. Again, they match. And your leftovers make your other one. Now it says, is 3x squared plus x plus 6 prime? Show all your work, prove yes or no, and then explain how you know. Okay, so we have to find our A, B, and C still. Cool thing is we don't have to factor it. A is 3, B is 1, C is 6. And we're going to plug it into this. So B squared minus 4 times A times C gives me negative 71. Therefore, it is prime because it did not equal a perfect square number. Okay, it's prime because it did not equal a perfect square number.